delegations, 33 nations, 55 MPs and one mission exposing Pakistan. Their mission accomplished, India's narrative warriors are back in their homeland, and Prime Minister Modi hosted the members of the multi-party delegations comprising parliamentarians and former diplomats to get a sense of their experiences and the world's response to an unprecedented diplomatic exercise. In a social media post after the interaction, the Prime Minister said that he was proud of the way the delegates presented India's views in various countries. The parliamentarians from across party lines shared their experiences with the Prime Minister, with the central government having already praised their work on many occasions before.
He certainly was very, very pleasant to all of us. I think he saw this as an opportunity to thank the delegations for their service, and he was very pleasant. He spent more than an hour with all of us, an hour and a quarter. He walked around the lawn to different tables, talking to different groups of people. We all sort of chatted with him in a very informal way. It was not a formal meeting at all. There were no formal speeches. We all shared lots of things with him, and I'm sure that in the fullness of time some of this will be apparent. But one general proposition I've noticed is that in every country, people came back saying this was a very good idea, that countries appreciated having members of parliament come and visit them. And we all suggested we should make a practice of this more often, sending MPs to engage with legislators in other countries.
He went to different tables, had an informal conversation with all the delegates, and he was very much happy the way the delegation has spread the message of peace and message of zero tolerance against terrorism. He also appreciated the fact that all the MPs suggested that these kind of interactions should happen in near future also to strengthen our ties with all the nations. Deep message which was appreciated by all the nations, the entire world, specifically was the member of parliaments belonging to different parties, but still they speaking in same voice, one voice.
Any report that you had also spoken to Prime Minister about your visit, your delegation, and also your observation, did you share that with Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
All the observations, all the learnings, feedback which we got from that nation in this 14 years span, we have submitted it to the PMO, and I was to two OIC nations and two non-permanent members of UNSC to be.
Even the Islamic nations also?
Yeah, Islamic nations, see, UAE, Sierra Leone, being the Islamic nation, they were very progressive. They were open, very much open about the things happening in India, the things happening in the name of religion, the terrorism happening in the name of religion. So that was very much important, that being the Muslim nation, but still they condemned what happened on 22nd April in India. They condemned the act of violence. They condemned the act of terrorism done by our neighboring nation.
It was first experience for me with President Prime Minister. And he invited us for a cup of tea and maybe just a casual discussion and get a feedback from us. Whatever we felt, we explained him. And then I had kept a brief report with me. In case if I do not get time to speak to him, I'll hand it over. He appreciated that and said, you did well. See, every political party has their own perception.
But if Samajwadi Party's perception?
No, Samajwadi Party has been always standing with the government and army. Whenever there is a crisis or this kind of difficult situation, you remember that surgical strike, we are the first to support army. So we don't want to play any politics.
There's also a controversy brewing in India where they've talked about the delegations that have gone internationally, saying that the Prime Minister is hiding behind the delegations. These are the charges coming in.
Well, I think pretty weak arguments. A discredited motley group of opposition leaders who do not demonstrate their nationalist spirit, on the contrary, deride their own motherland, is contemptuous, is sad, and I can only feel pity for the lack of leadership in the opposition. I can only feel very, very sorry for the few people left in these parties which are willing to compromise national interests for their petty political gain or for a quirky comment of an own.
So while one delegate after the other listed their achievements abroad, their peers back home continued the exercise of finding loopholes, like Mr. Sapra of the Congress, who thinks that the Prime Minister is trying to use these global delegates as a shield to deflect criticism.
विदेश से आए संसदीय दल के सांसदों को या सदस्यों को प्रधानमंत्री जी मिले, इससे हमें कोई परहेज नहीं है, हमें कोई एतराज नहीं है। लेकिन आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ये बताएं कि विपक्ष के सवालों का जवाब कब देंगे, ध्यान भटकाने का काम न करें। विपक्ष जो सवाल पूछ रहा है कि पहलगाम की घटना में इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर हुआ या पर्यटकों की सुरक्षा में चूक हुई तो उसकी जवाबदारी किसकी थी? 22 अप्रैल को ये घटना हुई, लेकिन आज तक वो सारे आतंकी फरार हैं, सारे आतंकी गायब हैं। इसके ऊपर सरकार कोई उत्तर नहीं दे रही है। आपकी विफल विदेश नीति, आपकी दुर्बल कूटनीति, ट्रंप की दखलंदाजी और फिर युद्ध विराम किन शर्तों पर हुआ, इन सारे सवालों के जवाब देश मांग रहा है। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को ध्यान नहीं भटकाना चाहिए। इस संसदीय दल की मीटिंग को अपना एक कवच बना करके या शील्ड बना करके नहीं रखना चाहिए।
He interacted with each and every delegate, each and every member of parliament, and he just listened and observed the remarks given by all the member of parliaments on their visit to all the countries.
Today, another Congress leader has said that that the Prime Minister is hiding behind these delegations. What are your comments?
See, I just wanted to tell you that Mr. Rahul Gandhi and few Congress leaders' statements are not only demeaning the morale of our army, but also the morale of our country. And the way their statements are being celebrated in Pakistan, Pakistani ministers are stating their statements on the record. I think as Mr. Rahul Gandhi is not finding any place in India, he should start thinking about fighting an election in Pakistan.
So let's tell you what are the achievements that we have had after this Operation Sindoor. Envoys went to different parts of the country. Let's get you some of the tangible results of India's diplomacy since the military action against Pakistan. One of the biggest achievements has come from Colombia, which corrected its previous stand. Remember, Shashi Tharoor made that announcement. The Shashi Tharoor-led delegation met them in Colombia, after which they reversed their stance on India-Pakistan conflict, because earlier they had offered their heartfelt condolences to Pakistan. That's a statement that they had made. But after India, the delegation from the country went and met them, it has now been changed. In fact, now it has been changed with a statement of condolence to Pakistan being withdrawn, and instead Colombia deciding to back India. Apart from that, there has been an endorsement from the European Union as well, which has said that it is India's right to protect the citizens and we must punish those who are behind the terror attack. That's a statement that has come in from the European Union as well. So it has come out in support of India. Apart from that, Switzerland has also extended its support to India, saying its unambiguous stand for the first time, condemning the barbaric Pahalgam attack. And it's a very, very clear stand that it has taken against Pakistan and against terror emanating from Pakistan. So this was a very clear statement that had come in. In fact, the efforts to convey India's stance globally is still on. In Brussels, the Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar, has made it clear yet again that India's fight is not against a particular country. It is against terror. The question is, who is India bloc fighting?
This is not a conflict between two states per se. This is actually a response to the threat and to the practice of terrorism. So I would urge you to make it, don't think of it as India-Pakistan, think of it as India-Terroristan.
India versus Terroristan. That's a statement that was made by the External Affairs Minister. My colleague Sabyasachi is on the broadcast with us with the details of what has happened over the last few days as the delegation has gone out, Sabyasachi, and we also put out details of the achievements of this delegation. But even in the interaction with the Prime Minister as they were back in the country, the politics around it has continued.
Well, that's right, Pratibha. See, the message from Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the delegation, irrespective of the fact which political parties these MP belong, but the message here is one India, one message. And the message is of unity, and the most important message has been delivered in the 33 countries that the delegation has visited. In fact, the delegation had pointed out that they have received support from the foreign countries as well as empathy from the Middle Eastern countries, especially on Pahalgam terror attack. But back home, the Congress party and some of the parties from the India bloc continues to criticize Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the central government. Now, the India bloc parties are alleging that this particular meeting that had happened at the residence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi was a cover-up or a shield to deviate from the criticism that is coming in from back in India. Now the opposition also went on to say that this delegation meet did not seem as much about diplomacy, but more about undermining the voices that is coming out from the opposition. See, it is very important to know that time and again the opposition had been demanding proof, irrespective of the fact that their own member of parliament, whether it is from the Congress party, the Trinamool Congress or other political parties like the Shiv Sena UBT, their member of parliament in fact have visited the foreign countries. They in fact on record have come out and said that they have received support from the foreign countries, and there were several rounds of meeting that had taken place, somewhere on camera, somewhere behind closed doors, but the support were continuously coming in. But this particular fact was completely being ignored by the opposition as they continue to raise that whether these delegations have achieved their objective, because the opposition continues to say that there were no foreign ministers or head of the state seen with the delegation in front of the camera, and that's what the opposition has been raising.
Okay, all right. But, you know, there are members in the delegation who are also from these opposition parties, and they themselves have also given the message to their leaders back home saying it's not tough to be patriotic, and yet it doesn't look like lessons have been learnt. Sabyasachi, thank you for joining us with those details. With that, it's time for us for a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Beginning of a new era, 41 years after Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, Group Captain